James chapter 1. If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him. But when he asks, he must believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That man should not think he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all he does.
Hey, LifePoint students, we miss you. It is Pastor Levi and Tia. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Tia.
You're Tia. They know who you are. You just say hi, it's me.
Hi, I'm Tia, it's me. I want to know where I'm supposed to be looking.
You can look at me, or you can look at the little dot.
But which dot? I don't see a dot.
It's there. It's like in this area.
Okay.
If you look there, you're looking right into the eyes.
Okay.
I already lost what I was going to say. As you guys know, we are going through the book of James together. Tia is actually doing a Bible study right now. It's called Just James, and so very convenient for us so that she can maybe pipe in with some of her wisdom that she is gleaning from this. And we'll get to that here in a second. But before we begin, I wanted to ask Tia some fun questions so that you guys can get to know her a little bit better. So Tia, here's my first question for you. If you had to choose between working at your favorite restaurant or working at your favorite store, which would you rather do?
A restaurant.
Okay, what restaurant would it be? What's your favorite restaurant?
Burger King.
Burger King. Okay, Tia would work at Burger King. I would choose.
Yes, I have already.
Well, you did. You worked at the BK Lounge.
It's worth it. 50% off.
Yeah. What was your favorite thing at Burger King?
Every break. Double cheeseburger, side salad with ranch, Dr. Pepper, cookies. Every time. The pickles are so good there.
The pickles.
The ketchup and the pickles mixture.
Sure.
Really good.
I am not a Burger King fan, but I've grown to endure it for Tia. If you were a transformer, what vehicle would you want to transform into?
I don't care.
You don't care? You could be the coolest car, or you could be a boat.
I mean, I'd rather be a human, so.
You would. So you would transform into like a human robot.
Yeah.
I think that you would transform into like a coffee maker. Are you a morning or a night person?
Neither.
I'm a sleep person. Yeah, I would say I probably agree with you. Sometimes I'm...
For me? You agree with it for me?
Yes. And also for me as well.
Okay.
So, would you rather be given a speech to a bunch of people and walk off stage and realize that your zipper was down? Or would you rather be talking to somebody, walk away from them, and then go to the bathroom and see that you have a huge booger hanging out of your nose? Which would you rather have happen to you?
Like a whole crowd?
Yeah, you're in front of a whole crowd, you walk off stage, and you're like, oh no, my zipper was down. Or
one person and a
one
booger.
person and you have a really bad booger
Who's
hanging.
the person?
Somebody you really admire.
Zipper.
Really?
I don't know. I mean, boogers are so gross.
I
I hate boogers.
I've experienced both of these things in some capacity, and so they're both horrifying. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just to give you guys an update on our lives, we've just been hanging in there, hanging out at home. Our family's been chilling together. We've been eating a lot of meals together, which has been awesome. We've been trying to find ways to have fun. And so the girls and Otto have just been playing together, getting on each other's nerves, have been screaming at each other. I'm sure you guys probably have experienced that in some capacity. When we get a chance, I try to bring the girls with me to the church. Like when Tia and I go into the church to record announcements, or whenever we go to the church for any reason, we try to bring the whole family just to give them a new scenery to play in and hang out in. And the other day it was like especially fun because I got like the laser on the projector remote out and I was like making the girls chase it all over the sanctuary, and like they thought we were just having the best game ever, but in my head I was like, yes, waste all of your energy. And so I was making them run up and down the aisles of the church by pointing the laser from the stage like all the way down, all the way back up again. It was awesome. And so if you're in the market of needing to entertain your smaller siblings, a laser is a great way to do that. And so, as you guys know, we are going through the book of James together as a youth group. So the last couple weeks we have been talking about just the introduction to James. James is a book about faith and action. James has been called by many theologians the book of Proverbs, but with New Testament clothes on, because there's a lot of wisdom and a lot of just like, here's how you can actively live to be more like Christ and to honor God. And so we're going to jump into the next part of James 1, which is going to be verses 5 through verses 7. So if you have your Bibles, you can follow along. And while you're looking for that, I'm going to ask Tia really quickly because she's been doing her Bible study in James, and you have any like nuggets about like just about who James is or anything that can give us some like backdrop to who he is.
One of the things that I found to be the most interesting, the Bible study starts by just talking about James's many nicknames. One of his nicknames is Camel Knees, and which sounds really weird. And so I Googled camel knees, and camel's knees are rough and coarse and really gross looking. They're dry. So the reason why he had that nickname is because James was always constantly found on his knees praying not just for himself, but praying for people and his family, and just constantly praying for others. That really stood out to me because he's not totally centered on himself. He's focused on Christ, and he's focused on praying for others and their needs, not just his own.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into James 1, excuse me. James 1, 5 through 8 says this: if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. So what we're going to talk about really quickly in this video is basically two disciplines that are really important for us to grasp in the midst of trials. And those two things are wisdom and steadfastness. And I know that word steadfastness is kind of weird, but we'll get into that here in a moment. But the first thing is wisdom. When James talks about wisdom in his book here in the first chapter, he's not talking about like general wisdom, but he's specifically talking about wisdom that has to deal with suffering. So it's like in the context of you suffering, you need to seek a wisdom that helps you get out of it. And so what he's really getting at is that all of us in the midst of our trials should be pursuing a perspective that is kind of above that. And the sad thing is that many times when we are in the middle of our struggles and we're in the middle of our depression or whatever it may be, we really don't want to hear wisdom. We don't want to hear people tell us, how we should live our life. We don't want to hear that because we're in the thick of it. And so all of us deal with things in different ways, but the reality is like we need to seek wisdom, because otherwise what we're going to do is just like sit in it, and we're never going to start to climb the mountain that we need to climb of our grief, of our trial, or whatever it may be. And we have to realize it's going to be a slow process many times. Like when we're going through our trials that James is talking about, it's not an instant microwavable thing.
No.
We have to take our time, and we have to seek wisdom and seek guidance from God. And even when it is annoying, and even when it hurts to admit that we're struggling, we have to and be willing to go to him. Now we're going to jump to the second part of this passage that talks about how when we ask, we do not doubt. When you think about doubt, you might think of like psychological thing, like I don't believe. But what James is saying here isn't like you need to 100% like psychologically like believe that it's going to happen. It's not like you need to sit there and say, I believe I'll get wisdom. I'll believe I get wisdom. I'll believe I get wisdom. That's not the doubt he's talking about. What he's talking about is literally like a double-mindedness. You have your feet in two different worlds, where on the one hand, you're like, I'm going to stick to the things that I know. I want to build my life on like my wants and my longings for power or money or status or whatever it may be. And so like I'm going to construct my life on that, but also I want to have my cake and eat it too. So I'm going to also try to build my life on God. And so like, what James is saying is like, listen, that ain't going to fly. Like you have to be loyal to one thing or the other. And what we learn from Jesus in the parable is that we want to build our life not on the sand, right? When Jesus says that, he's talking about the things of this world. We want to build our lives on the rock. We want to build our lives literally on the character of who Jesus is. And so that is actually what's going to hold us in this storm of life. And so James goes on to talk about how if we do this, if we're double-minded, if we're trying to build our lives on two different things, and we're not actually being loyal and trusting in God and leaning on him, then when the storms rise up, we are like a wave in the sea, right? We're just like going to crash. All of that leads to this terminology of being steadfast. The definition of steadfast, really easily stated from our friends at Google, is resolutely and dutifully firm and unwavering. Like it is our duty. It's our duty to be firm and unwavering in what we believe about God, that we wouldn't second guess that he wants to provide for us, that he is our sustainer. And that's really what it comes down to in these like few verses that we have, that we want to develop two disciplines when it comes to our trials, that we want to be people who seek wisdom, and people that seek to be steadfast after who God is. And so I encourage you guys, I don't know what you're dealing with in life. There may be things going on at home. There may be things going on internally that you're struggling with. It may be depression or insecurity. Maybe school is just kicking your tail right now. And what I want to tell you is be steadfast and seek wisdom. Know that God cares about you. Even the small things that you think don't matter, know that we care about you. We want to pray with you. We want to help you in whatever ways we can that are applicable to you. And so lean into God, rely on us to encourage you and to pray with you. And don't feel isolated. Don't feel like you have to go through trials alone. That's one of the biggest lies of the devil, that you have to do this all by yourself. It's not true. We're here to help you. And so we love you guys. And we will see you tomorrow night. If you're watching this on Wednesday, we will see you Thursday at 5:30. We hope that you join us for the Zoom meeting. If you need any information on that, you can contact me through email, through phone, through Instagram, whatever means are easiest for you, and we'll get you that link. But we love you guys. We'll see you hopefully very soon. And so hang in there, stay healthy.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.